before we get started, I wanted to ask you all for a quick favor. You don't have to do it now, but please consider it towards the end if you can. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and let me know what you think and want to see in the comments below. This is a small channel, so I'll do my best to respond to all the suggestions I get. And if you want to better your chances of seeing stuff you want on the network, hit that subscribe button and set all your notifications to all. I appreciate you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Now, on to the video.
Alright, what is up, Hentai Squad? What you're about to see real quick here is a very short kind of rant that I went on about bosses in video games and kind of my, take on what I like about certain bosses, the narrative presence that some bosses might have, and I specifically talk a little bit about Yakuza Kiwami, and specifically the final boss of that game, Akira Nishkiyama. I actually recorded this while I was playing Sonic Colors Ultimate over on Havoc Gaming. Go ahead and head on over to that channel, check out that series. But yeah, that's what this is going to be, so that's why it kind of sounds like really random and off the cuff, because it is. I'll see you all in the next one.
Honestly, me personally, I appreciate bosses more that have a narrative presence, that aren't just there in a gamey sense, It's easy to just put a boss, like in this game, but, this game, it was meant to be more, child-friendly, more simple, so I can kind of, say that hey, it's fine that the bosses serve no purpose other than just, something to fill up time. But I'll appreciate a boss more if there's some kind of, narrative presence for that boss. You could probably argue that Nemesis has narrative presence, though it does seem like Nemesis, at the very least, is kind of not lazy, but is there because, just for the sake of the story, you can't get rid of him immediately, or else there would be no game. So, Nemesis makes sense to kind of, just be the mini-boss that you have to deal with, the entire time. I mean, it makes sense. The game's named after him. But I'll appreciate more if a boss has some kind of narrative reasoning for it being included there. What's another example that I can give that's not Sonic related? Because Sonic is full of them. Fuck. What's a non-Sonic one? That's a lot of narrative. Nishkiyama from Yakuza Kiwami. He's a very good example. You only fight him once, which I think is actually I honestly don't like the fact that you only fight him once. I feel like if you fought him multiple times, that when you fight him at the end, it would be stronger than it is when just the one time you fight him at the end, because you fight him at the end and it's especially if you played Yakuza 0. You're how the fuck is Nishiki the strongest motherfucker here outside of Majima? Except Majima really does not fucking count because he's an optional boss, and optional bosses are usually always unnecessarily strong. But he's the final boss of the game, and he's just on par, if not stronger. And I know that the idea is, oh, Nishiki, has been training and been doing shit the entire time, Kiryu's been in jail and shit. And yeah, that's fine, but it'd been really cool to see that. You fight Nishiki at some point and you get your fucking ass handed to you. It's to the point where he's you're not even fucking worth killing. I feel like it would make him way more satisfying to fight at the end, especially since that's when the both of them take their fucking shirts off. That could be a symbol that, oh, Nishiki now has some respect for you, the same way that Majima does, because up until the very last time you fight him, optionally, he keeps his fucking clothes on, or he changes outfits. At the very last final fight with him, you guys both take your shirts off. And that's, of course, kind of the symbol of, that's basically like a Draken's Super Saiyan, That's you guys getting, that's them getting serious. So it would be really cool if you fought, Nishiki as, a sub-boss, once or twice in the main game. But he always, kept his clothes on, because he didn't, you didn't push him to that level, And then at the very end, you guys both take your shirts off, because you've pushed him to needing to actually go all out. That's how I see it. I think it would have been way more satisfying. I'm not saying there's anything fucking wrong with the way that they did that. I just think it would have been better. But what do I know? I've only been writing for several years. I don't know shit. And that's fine. I'm not saying that that's a rule of thumb or anything. I just think that there's a lot of I feel like you care about the boss more when you fight it more than once. Like, the narrative was there. I just really wish that there was, I guess, more of a kind of relationship between the two in that game. There was an okay relationship between the two, but it was way stronger in Yakuza 0 than it was in Kiwami, and I bet that's probably one of the things that they wanted to tackle in 0 is make their relationship more believable, because most of the game is them just being at each other, you know, butting heads. We barely get to actually see, like, them be brothers like they keep claiming that they are. And yeah, sure, Yakuza 0, that's fine, but that doesn't fix Kiwami. Kiwami could have definitely included like a little bit more of that anyway. Not saying it's bad, because that's what Kiwami was for. But it just would have been interesting if we got, you know, them interacting just a little bit more. At least, like, boss fight wise. I think that there should have been more than one boss fight. But that's just me personally. That's a personal gripe. I'm not saying that what they did was bad. Wasn't. Just, you know, it's just what I would have done. Right. Which makes sense, too. Like, I know that's probably something that's going to happen to me whenever I start publishing my stuff. I'm going to think of all kinds of things that I could have done better. Like, I'm kind of already doing that, even though I haven't actually published the first book yet. So I definitely get it. There's always, you know, something that you could have done better, something that could have been improved, but that doesn't mean what you made was bad.